We have to be very, very careful. And you have to watch, every one of you have to watch. Because bad things happened last time with the spying on our campaign, and that goes to Biden and that goes to Obama. And we have to be very, very careful. Have to be very, very careful. And this time they're trying to do it with the whole post office scam. They'll blame it on the post office. You could see them setting it up.
All right, that was the president back in August, warning about the impact of mass mail ballots on this year's election. So why wasn't anything done about this until it appears it was too late? Now, Roger Stone is a lifetime confidant and former advisor to the president. He joins us today to talk about this. Roger, good to see you. I think a lot of people don't know what to make of this story because it's really split the Republican Party. Give us your perspective here.
Well, first of all, it's important to recognize that there's not only compelling but overwhelming evidence of election fraud at two levels here. There's the old-fashioned machine Democrat urban type fraud of manipulating mail-in ballots, absentee ballots, people voting multiple times, people voting in the name of somebody they are not, dead people voting, and so on.
Right.
And then there appears to be very substantial evidence of cyber manipulation of the vote. It's only fair that these issues get fully and completely examined and adjudicated at the state level. And there's three levels here. You have the state courts, you have the election boards, you have the state courts, but you also have the state legislatures, because under our law, the state legislatures must certify the electoral college slates to the electoral college meeting on the 14th, which is where legally, of course, the president would actually be selected.
Yeah. Why is there such a lack of energy to go after some of these allegations? If they are there, if they are real, where is the FBI? Why are there Republicans like Brian Kemp that appear to be standing in the way that the president's screaming out on Twitter? What is happening?
Well, first of all, those in the Republican Party who were never for Donald Trump, those who are glad to see him go if that's what happens, because they like the status quo, the so-called never Trumpers, or the party establishment folks who, because the president was so popular, had to at least pretend to be for him. They have no belly for this fight. The Republican National Committee has cut the retainers for local attorneys in the swing states. But the president's supporters have taken no stand-down order. We are out there in a full-throated effort to bring public attention to the entire issue. In fact, this Saturday, there's a rally at Liberty Tower in Miami where hundreds of thousands of people are now expected. Another rally in Washington, D.C., rallies in state capitals across the country. These are peaceful protests to protest the fact that we're just not getting a legal count of the 2020 election.
Yeah. I want to talk for a second about pardons. The president has given out a few pardons already. General Michael Flynn was probably the most noteworthy. You were given a commutation. Obviously, you got wrapped up in the whole Russia probe. Have you spoken to the president about a full pardon?
I have not. It is very interesting that on Election Day at midnight, the U.S. Department of Justice released the last remaining sections of the redacted Mueller report.
Yeah.
And those sections show that Mueller and his dirty cops never had any evidence against me whatsoever. In light of that, in light of the fact that Andrew Weissman, the #2 man in the Mueller investigation, keeps insisting that I can be re-prosecuted, even though his own report now admits there's no evidence of any crime to prosecute me for, I have suggested in a piece in Real Clear Politics the other day that I hope the president would consider a pardon in my case, but I've had no direct or indirect contact with his office.
Fair enough. I wanted to ask you, I don't know if you saw John Brennan on Fox News Sunday, questioned by Chris Wallace. He didn't really get touched by Wallace on a lot of the things he said. He basically said the Russia investigation, wasn't that bad. I think he marginalized the impact of that investigation on the Trump administration, kind of made it seem like it wasn't that big of a deal. What was your response to that interview?
I mean, John Brennan is, to my mind, and based on my upcoming book, is the man who orchestrated the entire phony Russian collusion hoax, which was designed to overturn the legitimate results of the 2016 election. Why Mr. Brennan has not been charged by Mr. Durham remains a mystery to me, just a mystery. But Chris Wallace interviewing Brennan might as well have interviewed himself. Not going to get any challenging questions there.
Yeah, I thought he could have pushed certainly a lot harder. I was kind of surprised that he didn't, because there's a lot, from no matter how you look at it, there's a lot to Brennan. There's a lot you can talk about. There's a lot of controversy there. So it was an interesting interview, to say the least. Roger Stone, great to see you today. Thank you so much.
Great to be with you. Many thanks.
All right.
You just watched Newsmax TV, America's fastest growing cable news channel, now in more than 70 million homes. You can get Newsmax TV on your cable system or check your cable guide. And if your system doesn't carry Newsmax, call them, tell them you want Newsmax TV, because we're real news for real people.